good day everyone. My name is Kim Ashley M. Pantonial and I will discuss for today is describing common thesis output. So before I discuss this, we have the lesson objective, which is at the end of the lesson, the students are expected to define the common thesis output, recognize the common types of thesis output, and how to describe them through this discussion, and 3, apply common types of thesis output in the process of writing a research study. What is common thesis output? Common thesis output is generally refers to the standard result or delivery list produced from a thesis of research study, and these outputs can vary depending on the academic field, but they typically include 1 is the written thesis or dissertation. So what is that dissertation? It is a formal document presenting the research question, methodology, findings, and the conclusion, or this is the part of research, which is the chapter 1 that includes the SOP, the statement of problem, methodology, findings, and the conclusion. Number 2 is a published research paper. Here is many students turn their thesis into a journal article or conference paper. Number 3 is the presentations or the defense. It is a formal presentation of a research findings before a panel or before a panel or audience rate this thesis. So in conducting a research, we have at the end you will present and defense on how you do that research. Number 4 is the abstract and summary. A concise overview of the research often includes thesis respiratories. Number 5 is the practical application. So here are some thesis leads to software, prototypes, educational materials, or policy recommendation. So in number 6, dataset experimental result. So here, for the data-driven research, the output may include the datasets, statistical analysis, or computing models. This is shown in the research where they gather the data or the result of their research. And number 7, creative work. It is part of the common thesis output because in artistic fields, outputs may include films, composition, design, and performances. So in common types of thesis output, it is describing a common thesis output involves explaining its format, purpose, structure, and significance. So a thesis output refers to the final product or research conducted in a thesis or dissertation. It presents the finding, solution, or contribution of the study, and the type of outputs depends on the research field and objective. So there are common types of thesis outputs and how to describe them. 1 is the written documents, which is the traditional research papers, all the manual books. So it is a formal written documents presenting the research problem, methodology, findings, and the conclusion. So here, that is the whole part of the research. And the purpose of that is to provide detailed insight into the study's contribution to the field. So number 2 is the software application or system. So it is a digital tool developed to solve a specific problem related to the research topic. So the purpose of this is to provide a functional prototype or program to address an unidentified need. So for example, a thesis on education technology may produce a learning platform to assist students in promoting learnings. Number 3 is the models, frameworks, or theories. So here is a conceptual structure that explains a phenomenon, process, or system. And the purpose of this is to guide future researcher or an application. For example, a business thesis may propose new marketing and frameworks for digital advertising effectiveness. Number 4 is the product or the prototype itself. So it is a tangible or physical outputs developed through research, such as a device or a materials. So the purpose of this is to create a new product that enhance existing solutions or introduce innovation. For example, a thesis or renewable energy may result in a solar power water filtration system. So the products here or the prototypes here is a solar powered water filtration system. So next is the educational materials, which is the modules, curriculum, teaching, and guides. So here is the teaching and learning resources based on research findings. So the purpose of this is to improve education training in particular field. For example, a thesis pedagogy might develop a new instructional module for teaching mathematics. Next is the multimedia output, which is the video, documentary, and infographics. This visual or audio-based presentation of research findings, and the purpose of this is to engage a wider audience and simplify complex topic. For example, a journalism thesis may produce a documentary or human rights violation. Next is the policy or the recommendations. This document proposing solution or policies based on a research finding, and the purpose of this is to inform decision makers and stakeholders. For example, a thesis or urban planning may result in recommendation for sustainable city development. So that is the common types of thesis output and how to describe them. The next is how to describe a thesis output in writing. So number 1, we have here the title and the types. It is clearly state what the output is. For example, it is a software or framework or a documentary. For example, the research output is a mobile application designed to assist students in mental health self-assessment. So, number 2 is the purpose and the functionality. It explains why it was created and how it works. So after that example, you will identify the purpose and functionality of each. For example, this app provides itself assessment tools that allow students to evaluate their stress levels and receive coping recommendation, and that is the purpose and functionality of your research. Number 3 is the significance and the impact. It is describe its importance and how it contributes to the field. For example, the application addresses the increasing demand for mental health, it awareness among students, and provides a user-friendly solution. Number 4, the features and components, which is the highly key elements that make up the output. For example, key feature includes the mode trackers, daily self-check quizzes, and access to professional help resources. Number 5 is the target user and the beneficiary. It indicates who will use or benefits from the output. It is obviously you who are the target of your research. For example, the system is designed for high school and college students who need mental health support. So that is your target and beneficiary of your research, which is the high school college. I hope you learned something, and again, my name is Ashley M. Pantonial, and that is the end of our topic. Bye-bye!